the end of the year, and we are still having this terrible war going on in Ukraine. Marcus Kolga is a senior fellow with the Macdonald-Laurier Institute in Ottawa. He joins me right now because I want to put to you, I'm not talking about the strategies of the war, but dealing with Russia. Russia has, and Russian people in the government have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars around the world, stashed either in banks, institutions, or in assets. If the world is so concerned about it, why isn't the world seizing those assets?
Well, not just hundreds of millions of dollars, Stephen, but billions just here in Canada alone. There are corporations that own, there's, for instance, a tractor company in Manitoba that's owned by a Russian oligarch. There are 5 steel plants operating in Western Canada that are owned by a major Russian oligarch. His name is Roman Abramovich. He's on our sanctions list, and the value of those steel plants back in 2003 was in the billions of dollars. He actually bought those steel plants from Inco Steel for $3 billion back then. The value of those steel plants has certainly increased during that time. So there
Is he supplying steel to the Russian war effort, do you think?
We don't know that. I mean, it is the largest steel producer. Evraz Steel is the name of the company. It is the largest steel producer in Russia. It's entirely likely that there's some of that steel is in some of those weapons right now.
So why don't we seize those assets and say, you know what, until this war, we're going to put your shoulders to you until this war is over. We'll deal with it afterwards.
Well, Mr. Abramovich is the largest shareholder in Evraz, but he doesn't own more than 50% of the shares in that company. So I think that becomes a problem for our government.
Do we have people looking at that, though? Looking at these different circumstances and saying, okay, this one is predominantly owned by Russian, we're going to seize it?
Yeah, I think so. There's an entire team in global affairs that's growing, that is looking at where these assets are stashed in this country. So yeah, there's someone in the government looking at this.
Well, they've had almost a year. I mean, is it like the rest of the government? They can't do very much very fast?
Well, look, we know that there are several other large, important, wealthy oligarchs who have assets in this country who haven't been even placed on our sanctions list yet. They are on the US, EU sanctions list, but not on ours. So somehow they've managed to evade our lists.
Why is that? I mean, we have a prime minister who's a feminist, who is out there supporting Ukraine, chats with the president of Ukraine all the time, supposedly. So why don't we say, come on, let's have some action?
Well, I'd like to know as well why these oligarchs are missing from our lists. And I'd also like to know why these large companies that own assets in our country, why those companies themselves aren't placed on our sanctions list. Because if we place them on our sanctions list, then it makes it so much easier for us to freeze, seize, and repurpose the assets that these companies and individuals hold in this country.
No, well, the 3 minutes is up. I know some people are saying, well, there's legalities, but you know what? Possession is 9/10 of the law. Seize it now, worry about the legalities later on. Marcus Kolga, 3 minutes in a few seconds. A number of people tell me I am no longer a liberal. I am a liberal, and this station is not about liberal or conservative politics, nor about left or right politics. It is about efficient government and honest government and getting the best way to help people in Canada. That is why we are not paid by the government, and that is why we're looking for your support. Press subscribe, and if you can make a donation, we appreciate it.